Hello, I thought I would do a quick video on the Carisma M40S 1/10 scale radio controlled car. So basically, when this car came out, Carisma, they were a fairly new company, and people can correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe that this particular version of the M40S or M40, I think this was the first one that they released in 1/10 scale with the Audi Quattro body shell. Since this car, Carisma have released loads and loads and loads of other cars now. They are also very, very, very good at crawlers, and they have released quite a few different versions of their SCA1E crawler, which is a really, really good crawler. I actually do have one. It's here. So that is the Ford F-150 version, but the SCA1E chassis and drivetrain is pretty much the same throughout the range. I think they do a Range Rover. I think they do a Mitsubishi Shogun. They do their own type body shell as well. Can't remember what that one was called. The Coyote, I think. I think it was called the Coyote. Yeah. So anyway, they do quite a few different versions, but it's basically all the same chassis. They are great. If you're into crawling, then out of the box, these things are pretty much unstoppable. I've had this one now for about 2 years, 2.5 years. I bought it when they first came out, and I've done everything with this truck. I mean, it's been fully submerged. It's been in mud that you just would not believe. It's rolled God knows how many times. It's fallen off of bloody big cliffs and rocks and all sorts, and it's just still going. Nothing's broke. Everything seems to be very well made. Definitely a good competitor with things like your Traxxas TRX4 and stuff like that. There's also this one. Now, this is not a Carisma. This is an FTX High Rock. But when you look at the two comparisons, they're both 1/10 scale crawlers. So this is the Carisma. Again, out the box, great crawler. I don't know if they list it as fully waterproof, but I mean, it pretty much is, and that's from personal experience as well. The standard electrics are all still in this. I haven't upgraded anything at all. The motor's standard, the electrics are standard, everything's standard, and it's still going totally fine. So this one is FTX High Rock. Again, pretty much waterproof. I've done all sorts of same stuff with that as I have this. And this again is another great crawler. It's about the same sort of price as the two. So you're looking at around about 300 to 320 pounds, depending on where you get it from, for either of these two crawlers. I think this one I paid about 310 when it first came out on offer, and that one I paid about 300, I think, just under maybe. But again, depending on where you get it from, they'll vary. Anyway, back to this. So this is, as I said, the Carisma M40S. Now, what I wanted to do in this video was basically just to tell people about what kind of car this is like standard and what you can actually do to it and get out of it. Because I'm actually very impressed with this. I've had a few 1/10 scale electric cars over the years. I've had a couple of Tamiyas, TT02 chassis. I've had a few Thunder Tigers. What else have I had? Oh, I can't remember now. But quite a few anyway. Quite a few different ones. Oh, Kyosho. That's it. I had a Kyosho one. And they've all been fine, but they're fairly expensive. Now this, I think this was about £150, brand new. And that's not a lot of money for what you got, really. You got a licensed Audi Quattro body shell, which looks really cool. Especially if you like your old rally cars and stuff. So it looks really cool. And the standard running gear on this, I think, was a 15-turn motor, I think. And it was fairly nippy. It wasn't brushless, it was brushed. But it was okay. It went well. It had enough power. It had enough grunt. enough torque to spin the wheels, and the standard battery pack's a bit weak, though I will say that's the only downside. I think it only came with a 1400 battery pack, 7.2 volt, and is a bit weak, if I'm honest, but upgrade that to a 3000 or 3500 and your runtime will be significantly longer, but you'll also have more power and more punch from the actual motor and stuff as well, because obviously you've got more power. So yeah, out the box, great car. Really good, quite robust, fairly well built, and it looks fairly good too. So, we'll take the shell off mine, and you'll see that it's not quite standard in here. So, all of the extras that are on here, some of which you can't see, are all genuine Carisma parts, which are available from the Carisma shop online. The only thing that isn't genuine Carisma is this motor, this fan, and this speed controller here. That's still the standard receiver. So basically, you probably already noticed, but I upgraded this to brushless, and it is mental brushless, because this is such a light little car, little chassis, that when you convert these to brushless, even if you use a low powered brushless motor, which this one isn't, this is a fairly powerful one, but even if you did use a fairly low end one, it would just be absolutely ridiculous. You don't need to change any of the pinion gears. It will run absolutely fine with the standard pinion gear. Obviously does depend a little bit on how powerful you want to go with the motor, but this one is a 3000, I think 270 kV motor, and I'm running a 23 tooth, I had to think about that then, a 23 tooth pinion. The standard pinion I think is 20 tooth on this. The standard pinion was fine. The top speed did obviously increase a bit because of the extra power, but not massively, and I wanted a lot more top speed, so that's why I upgraded it to a 23 tooth pinion. You could probably even go 24 tooth and it would be probably absolutely fine. The acceleration is ridiculous still. I mean, you cannot even use barely a quarter throttle from a standstill, because it will just spin all four wheels and you'll go around in circles. So you've got to accelerate a bit carefully, but once you're moving, once the wheels are moving, then you can give it the beans, and it really does shift. It shoots off. I actually put the GPS on this as well the other day, just because I was interested to see what sort of speed this was doing, and it clocked in at 47 miles an hour, and that is fast. I know there are faster RC cars out there, but for a little 1/10 scale like this, with, you know, a brushless motor and a few other little upgrades, nearly 50 miles an hour, that's pretty quick. I was very impressed with that, and it gets there super fast as well. So, what do you need to get your one of these, if you have one? What do you need to buy to make it as quick as this? So, first off, you need a brushless motor kit, obviously. This is entirely personal choice. It will need to be a 550 size, but power-wise or kV-wise, that's kind of up to you. I would not recommend going much above what I've got, which I think, again, is a 3270, I think. So I wouldn't recommend going much above that, because if you do, it's just going to be too uncontrollable, because this is already a handful. So yeah, you get your brushless motor kit. That should come with the speed controller as well. Obviously, you can't upgrade to brushless without upgrading the speed controller as well, because you'll just fry everything. It just won't work. You can't connect either. It's just that you can't do it. So you need your speed controller, you need your motor. Get those two. Then you're going to need to upgrade to Lipo battery. So the difference between normal and Lipo is this. So this is your normal battery pack. This is a 2000, ignore the make, it's just purely just to show you normal battery pack. So that's your normal 7.2 battery pack there, 2000 milliamps and 7.2 volts. So if you want to upgrade to brushless, you can either go 2S or 3S. On a 2S lipo, like this, you're gonna get about 7.4 volts there, 4,000 milliamps, okay? So on lipo, you're gonna get a bit more power, a bit more of a oomph. It's gonna last a lot longer as well. It's just a generally all-round better battery. So that's your 2S lipo. Obviously, you can go up. You can get 5,000 or 6,000 2S lipo. But if you want even more power, up to 50% more power, you look at that 7.4 volt. If you get a brushless motor kit with a speed controller that's capable of handling 3S lipo, then you can get something like this. So this is a 3S. It's 11.1 volt. And 4,500 milliamps. And this, honestly, the difference between that battery and that battery is just so noticeable, it's ridiculous. It's almost like when you put the 3S LiPo on, after using that one, it's almost like going back to that again, because the power difference is just so extreme. And obviously your run time as well is going to be a lot longer. So yeah, basically, if you want to make your Carisma M40S or M40, if you want to make it capable of doing almost 50 miles an hour, or possibly even faster if you get a higher tooth pinion, then you will need brushless motor kit, brushless motor speed controller, capable of handling 3S LiPo. This has already had the diffs changed as well. You will definitely need to do that, otherwise you'll be stripping gears for crazy. So the diffs, you've got the rear one there obviously, and then you've got the front one there. So inside these casings, that's where your diffs are. It's fairly simple to get to. You basically take off this central part here of the car. It's like a strip. You take off that and then you can access bits and bobs down there, and the diffs come apart. You can buy ready-built metal gear diff kits from Carisma. So get two of those, one for the rear, one for the front. Get those. Then you will need to get the metal drive shaft, which you can see is in there. Prop shaft rather, not drive shaft, because the standard one is plastic. In the diff kit, if you get the proper diff kit from Carisma, it comes with all new input shafts as well. So that's basically the gear that goes in here and transfers the power from the diffs to the prop shafts. You will need to get that kit as well, because again, the standard ones, they're all plastic and they just disintegrate. They do not last long. And that's about it really. The rest of the car, pretty good. Tyres is a personal choice. If you're running brushless, especially 3S, then be prepared to go through a lot of tyres, because this does. I mean, if you look at the state of these were actually new about 2 or 3 days ago. And they're already pretty bold. So, yeah, literally 2 or 3 days of use. And they're already almost bold. But it's a great fun car. So, there we are. That's basically all I wanted to say. Not particularly interesting video really, but hopefully it might be useful to some people. I might do some more videos on this and hopefully show you some videos of it actually running as well. But for now, thanks for watching, and I hope that helped. Goodbye.